So hi, welcome to tonight's podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Coco from Winona Fighter.
And we're here some questions to say about the upcoming album. My apologies to the chef. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you. It feels really, really good to finally have it out there. I think it was a highly anticipated announce, as we've only had for so long, about 8 songs out there. So it feels good for people to know that there's more stuff coming, and a lot to look forward to.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Things coming.
Been following you guys for a minute, and I was like, where the hell is the album? Because we were getting to the end of the year with nothing but singles. But, top of next year, finally get the record. We got to hear it. It fucking rocks.
It's so fucking
you.
good. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Of course. Of course. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so the title actually, the whole record itself, it was just me, Austin, and Dan were the only ones who put our hands on it. So me and Austin co-produced the whole thing. We're the only ones who recorded on it. And so when we would be recording, if we would mess something up, it started with me. I recorded all the drums. If I would mess up, I would get frustrated. And I had to kind of cool my temper a little bit. So I would just say, my apologies to the chef.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of just became a thing in the studio. And we were like, actually, it would be pretty sick to call this DIY record, the term we used whenever we would fuck something up.
Yeah.
And so then just from there, we kind of thought, okay, well, what else could that mean? Am I the chef? Are my parents the chef? My parents were raised a kid who wanted to play punk rock music. So we kind of took that aspect of it too. And that's how we came up with the album art.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned the record is self-produced. Curious, if you guys struggled at all with knowing when to stop when it came to producing and mixing and mastering and things like that, or were those parts of it outsourced?
So we would have our work tapes, and some of the times Austin would do the work tapes, or we would write with a different producer who would do a work tape. And then we would do pre-production, and we'd give ourselves a week to rework these songs and make them Winona Fighter songs. And from there, we would just record all the parts. And then after recording was done, we gave ourselves another week. Okay, let's listen to all the songs again, sit on them. What's missing? What can we actually take away? So it was all about setting a timeline for ourselves, because we would definitely still be sitting in the studio right now, tweaking it. And then we had our 2 of our A&Rs come in, and they also kind of gave their 2 cents towards the end. And I think that really helped solidify things.
Gotcha. Well, it's good that you guys set the timeline and then chose to actually stick to that timeline that you guys set for yourselves.
Yeah.
That's always the hard part, right?
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
Yeah. A lot of the songs were written by myself or me and Austin, or Johnny's Dead is me, Austin, and Dan. We had actually written a whole other record and had started to record it. And then we signed to Rise via that record we were recording. And we just felt like it had been so long, 2 years had passed since Father Figure, and we were writing this other record. Rise actually introduced us to some really great co-writers and collaborators. So we spent a week out in LA just to see if we could beat anything out on the previous record. And we actually came out with some pretty killer tunes that beat out the other songs 10,000 times through. But the writing process is definitely different each time. It can either start with a drum idea, or I'll come in with a chorus, or we'll just start from scratch and be like, okay, what's the vibe, or what are we missing? I think the only thing on this record that we didn't get that was missing the whole time was a ballad. But we're not too much ballad people, so
yeah, that's okay.
We're kind of I think we can get away with that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Was this your first time, the band's first time taking a swing with co-writers?
Pretty much. There were two writers that I worked with for the Father Figure EP here in Nashville.
Mhm.
But otherwise, it was the first time working with completely, new people, strangers, people who had these like insane writing credits. It was a bit intimidating, and I always like stayed away from co-writing because my experiences weren't always the best. People would either take it like way too pop punk kind of Swaco-y, or they would take it
Yeah.
the complete other direction. Oh, like very new metal rock. So I just kind of like, you know what, my own thing's working. I'll just keep doing that.
Exactly, yeah.
But then, yeah, Rise did a fantastic job of like hooking us up with collaborators who like understood the assignment and were just really passionate about what we were doing as well. So
Yeah,
it was really cool. Yeah.
yeah. So, forgive me if I'm wrong, but you said you guys had a full record, kind of like written, outlined. Then you got signed to Rise. Rise said, "Hey, we're gonna ship you out to, go and write with some other co-writers, maybe get some new shit going, maybe write some new music." And then you guys completely rewrote the album, or just wrote a completely new album. Are any of the old tracks from the original concept still there, or are they all completely new?
Yeah. So a couple of the old songs, from what we thought was going to be on the album
Mm,
are on this record.
yeah.
And the other ones, they're not dead forever. Maybe they'll come around on LP too. But yeah, we have some songs from Father Figure. All of those ones are completely new mixes, new drums,
Yeah.
remastered. And then we have some of the singles that have already been released. And then we have some brand new songs, and then some that just haven't been shown to the public yet.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. So what song off the album took the longest to write, and then which one is your personal favorite?
Oh, the one that took the longest to write would be Johnny's Dead. That's the only one on there that's written as a band. And we wrote it, and it just like it was like good but not there. So we spent a while reworking it because I was like passionate about it. I had written about something I really cared about, and I was like, this song needs to be out there. So as far as like getting it to where it needs to be, Johnny's Dead definitely took the longest. I would say altogether, maybe 3 or 4 sessions to nail it.
Yeah.
And then my favorite song, oh man, I just I love all of them.
Yeah.
I do. I am, each one of those songs I'm very passionate about. And that's the thing. There were a couple songs in the pot that I just like was not a fan of. And that didn't really think like speak to me. And so they didn't make the cut, which is really cool that every single song on the record is I have a strong personal feeling about. So, but I would say like Hams in a Glass is still the best one to perform live. That's definitely a favorite. And then I would say the final track on the record, Don't Wallow, explains the most about like our journey to getting to where we are today. And there's just something very like exciting about that, and emotional, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener to be the opener, closer to be a closer, shuffle around and see who it fits? What was that process like?
Yeah, so the opening track, Jumper Cables, it almost didn't make the cut. And my like one thing was, if we put it on the record, it has to be the opening track. Like there's just no way it would fit anywhere else in the record. And same with Don't Wallow, it almost didn't make the cut because it is more that anthemic tune. And so same thing, I was like, if this goes on the record, it has to be the last track.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, I sat down with our manager and we kind of wrote out our each individual what we think the track list should be. And we ended up going with his because he made an excellent point, which is, the record is for our current listeners, but it's even more so for people discovering us for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you look at the track list and it's Phoebe, Subaru, Hams, our most popular songs, but the majority of people listening to the record aren't gonna have ever heard those songs before, ever. So he's a smart guy.
Yeah, that's why they get paid the big bucks,
Yeah, exactly.
So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Oh man. It was 2023 is when we were writing a lot of the songs for it and going into 2024. And it was a big year for us. There were a lot of highs, but there were also like a lot of lows. What did they say? It's lonely at the top. And that's definitely like a hurdle you have to get over. And we were definitely getting over it in 2023. But then the actual recording of the record, we had just gotten off tour with Bayside. And a lot of people don't realize this, but we were gone for over a month. And it was literally just me, Austin, Dan, and a drummer. Like we didn't have a tour manager, didn't have a merch person. It was just us like grinding for over a month. That's heavy. So, yeah, we got home to record the record and we were all like pretty burnt out. Yeah.
After all of that. Yeah.
Touring on your own with no help at all.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that like kind of in some weird fucked up way, like is a perfect paints a perfect picture for the record. Cause again, it's such a DIY record. And it's such like a fruit of our labor, yeah, we will never get off a tour and immediately start recording ever again. But I think it's the perfect representation for the record. That feeling of like our eyes are like this wide and my bags are like down here,
Yeah. It is weird though, because like typically for like a band's debut record, it's like the one record where like they're not fresh off of a tour or about to go on the road. So it's like you guys didn't even get to have that experience of like the first record being like the excitement and then getting to do a tour like Bayside. You were already out there doing the tour and then you're like, we have to come home and record the damn thing now after doing it all ourselves for the past month.
Yeah. Well, we originally were like, okay, October release date. That's when it's going to come out. And we were all like on board. And then, so May recording, June comes along, recording slowing down, starting to get mixed. July comes along, we're like, okay, you know what? We're this far along. Maybe we should just like pivot a little bit. But yeah, you know what? We don't really stop. We don't take breaks. We love to do this. And we're still at a point in our career where we like can't take a break. And we're like mental health. We make sure that everyone, has their time and gets what they need and everyone's taking care of themselves. We're a very like health conscious band as well. When we're on the road, try to eat good, exercise, meditate, all that stuff. But yeah, we literally don't stop. We just kind of get done what needs to get done and hope. Hope for the best.
Well, at least you got that experience out of the way, the immediately jumping off of tour into the studio, because as Shane said, it's typically not the debut, the first one. It's usually like a couple down the road, but I mean, check, done. Now you can relax for the next couple records,
exactly. Right? LP2 will have a bit of like, maybe you'll hear a little bit of like, oh, they're well rested.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
they
I don't
got
hear
time in the studio, like
exhaustion.
Yeah.
It's good.
LP1, you're gonna be very anxious listening to. You're holy shit. What the fuck?
You're gonna be getting the bags in your eyes just listening through it.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Oh man, I would say release day, get up, your speakers on wherever they are and turn it up and start your day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Austin's a runner. He said it's a really good album to run to.
Mm-hmm.
I like blasting it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a good one to just fresh ears dive right in. Because it does like it I think the nice thing is it is upbeat all the way through, but it progresses into getting like heavier. So you're not immediately like blasted in the face with aggression.
Yeah.
He's into the aggression.
Yeah,
which is why it's perfect for waking up. Like by the time you're ready to get out of bed, you're getting slammed with the aggression.
Exactly.
Yeah. Once the coffee starts to kick in, you're like,
let's
go.
Fucking love it. So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
For music lovers.
Aww.
Is what I would say. Yeah.
That's good.
I love it.
Hell yeah. And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
Yeah, I would say even though a lot of the songs I wrote about personally specific things, I think a lot of it is up to listener interpretation. And so feel free to interpret the songs however you want and have whatever discourse you want. I was just on a podcast the other day talking about Subaru and about how we re-released the music video.
Yeah.
Re-released Subaru and then released the music video like the week before Pride. And people were like tagging me in their TikToks like, oh my gosh, like Winona Fighter releases this song called Subaru that's about like finding yourself right before Pride. You know, not what I wrote the song about, but it is so cool that people are interpreting the music in ways that honestly make me rethink how I wrote them or how I viewed them at first. So
yeah, because it's that idea of like, obviously once you put it out, it's kind of no longer yours in like a weird way.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing that grinds my gears more than being on TikTok and someone posting their own discourse about it and then someone else being like, actually that's wrong. That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's like, just hey, chill.
Hey, but
everyone can have their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah,
it's fine.
People will shit on other people's opinions all day. That's just what I think that's what the internet's for at this point.
Yeah.
Go
outside, everyone.
Exactly.
Listen to this album outside.
Yeah.
Take
Touch
a
grass.
walk.
Yeah.
Walks are good.
Right. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
Yeah, I think the most positive thing was, we did just sign to a label, and this is our first release under a label. And I think everyone, and rightfully so, views suits in the music industry as like this negative thing. But I think we were lucky enough to have a label that's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you guys want to record this record by yourselves, awesome. Yeah. Like, we are for it. We believe in you. Just let us know when it's done. And I think that really solidified, made us feel even better about our decision to sign to the specific label that we did. And another positive is just, Dan and Austin are my best friends, and getting to create this project with them, and have just conversations between the 3 of us, and make this thing we're so proud of together is just so cool. And we're all so excited. And then negative, I would say just like, as a lot of like creatives do, negative self-talk. When you're recording, we all get it. I think Dan and Austin are some of the most talented people I've ever met, and seeing how they would be sometimes when they couldn't get something right, like watching videos back of myself in the vocal booth, like if I was having trouble with something, that's just like such a common thing, but it's definitely a hill that we're all still learning to get over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
I am a beef jerky girl.
Damn right.
Yeah, beef jerky, and if they have a now this is gonna be two different extremes. If they have a coconut water, if they don't have a coconut water, an ice cold Diet Coke from the fountain.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love coconut water. I feel like no one brings it up for like gas station treats, but it is so fucking good. Yeah.
It is. It's on our rider, and we'll like sometimes they'll give us like the really good coconut water, like the pink one.
Yes.
And we like high five. We're like, yes.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
If we were a dish, we would probably be a hot dog.
Okay.
Because no matter what different flavors you put on it, it's always going to be good.
You're goddamn right. Fuck
Hell yeah.
Hot dog.
And for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
It would probably be, and this is going to be crazy, a basket of French fries.
Yeah.
Raw oysters, and maybe 2 bottles of champagne.
Oh.
Classy.
It's going out with a bang.
Yeah, you know, I just that's off the top of my head. It could change at any second now.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just kind of what I'm like, that could be really good.
Nice, honestly. Now I'm thinking about it. I've always wanted to try raw oysters, but they kind of freak me out a little bit. I can't lie. Like I just
Yeah. You gotta season them right. You gotta get them from a good place. And if you're nervous, get the little saltines, put it on a little saltine.
Ooh.
And yeah, that will help.
How do you season your raw oysters? What is the right way to season it?
I'll do a little of that like vinegar stuff that they give you. And then lemon and hot sauce.
Yeah. Zoom agrees.
I know, yeah. Zoom was like, fuck yeah.
Oh, and cocktail sauce too.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write that shit down. I really want to fucking try it. I'm so serious. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Oh. Fictional world for a week. I was just watching Spidey and His Amazing Friends with my nephew.
Fuck yeah.
And so I would say I would live in the Spider-Verse. And Dan is actually a huge Spider-Man nerd, like the biggest you've ever met in your life. So he would also co-sign on that.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
Isn't that that's the one that Patrick Stump wrote the theme song for, right?
Yeah.
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 That song
and
goes
it's
hard.
banging, dude.
Yeah, it's banging.
Oh, it is.
It's like, this is for kids. This is fantastic.
Sign me up. Like, this shit's crazy. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
And I've not asked the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple.
Nice.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So as I said, that's all the questions we had today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
No, thank you guys so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's so cool getting to talk to new people and talk to new audiences, and in the grand scheme of things, we're still such like a fresh baby face in the scene. So I appreciate you guys letting me share my voice and share my band.
Of course.
Of course.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you. Sounds us. This has been Coco from Winona Fighter, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.